Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Black Hills AI webinar, Building a Generative AI Roadmap, Strategic Adoption for Competitive Advantage. A recording of this episode and the slides will be made available on the Black Hills AI YouTube channel as well as the Black Hills AI website. Feel free to enter any questions using the Q&A feature in the Zoom menu. We invite you to follow us on LinkedIn and to visit the Black Hills AI website to learn about our other webinars. And with that, I will turn things over to Manjeet and Jim.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking about more about AI, of course, and today's title is Building a Generative AI Roadmap, a strategic strategic adoption and competitive advantages of that. We have Dr. Manjeet Rege again from University of St. Thomas in the Twin Cities, and I'll be speaking today as well about more practical applications that are specific to AI or to IP. So thank you again for joining us today. And from here, Dr. Rege, please take it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jim. Really excited to be here today to talk about how enterprises can implement generative AI strategically to drive real business impact. AI has been evolving rapidly, and we have all seen its ability to create content, be it text, images, videos, or even code. But its true value extends, far beyond that. And the real opportunity lies in leveraging AI to enhance efficiency, automate processes, drive innovation, and create new business models. So in this session, we'll cover beyond content creation, and also talk about high value use cases, data strategy, building an AI center of excellence, measuring ROI and business impact. So, you'll have a structured framework to implement generative AI in a way that aligns with your business strategy. So, having said that, let's dive in. When we talk about generative AI, many people immediately think about chatbots like ChatGPT or, AI generated art that we have been seeing quite a lot that goes viral on um, social media. While these are impressive applications, the only scratch they only scratch the surface of what AI can do in an enterprise setting. Instead of just creating text or images, AI can be used to drive innovation, automation, and decision making. So let me give you a few examples. Customer service and operations. AI can automate responses, analyze sentiment, and even predict customer needs before they arise. Supply chain and logistics. Companies are using AI to forecast demand, optimize inventory, and reduce waste. Finance and risk management, they're using AI that can detect fraud, analyze financial trends, and automate compliance reporting. So think of generative AI as an augmentation tool, not just a content generator. Businesses that adopt AI strategically are always seeing exponential improvements in efficiency and innovation. Um, Key areas where generative AI delivers value. So let's talk about real world applications. Product innovation and rapid prototyping. AI can assist in design generation, create multiple variations of a product concept, and simulate different scenarios. Automotive companies use AI for design improvements, while consumer goods companies use it for packaging and branding. Um, Personalized marketing and customer engagement. So AI enables hyper personalized marketing by analyzing customer data and generating tailored content. Um, Netflix and Amazon, use AI to recommend content and products based on previous interaction of users. AI can streamline documentation, automate report generation, and even power internal search engines to help employees find relevant information. AI assisted, development tools help software engineers write and debug code faster, reducing time to market for new applications. Companies like GitHub and Microsoft have integrated AI-powered coding assistants into their platform. So by implementing AI in these areas, organizations can significantly enhance efficiency, creativity, and customer experience. Let's talk about certain industry specific AI applications. Healthcare organizations like the Mayo Clinic use AI for medical imaging analysis and treatment planning. Um, One of the key healthcare challenge is ensuring HIPAA compliance and patient data privacy. Financial institutions implement AI for fraud detection and personalized advisory services. You might have had experience with Fidelity or Vanguard that do something like that. And again, the focus there in the financial sector is explainability and the ability to audit due to regulatory requirements. Manufacturing companies like Siemens use AI for predictive maintenance, reducing downtime by up to 50%. And there, in a manufacturing setup, the approach is integration of IoT sensors with AI to create a digital twin. Um, in the retail, we use AI for inventory management and personalized recommendations. So most successful retail implementations connect AI directly to supply chain operations. And then, energy sector applies AI for grid optimization and consumption forecasting. So industry, specific AI implementation must address unique regulatory and operational contexts. Example of strategic AI adoption comes from Microsoft. So under Satya Nadella's leadership, Microsoft formed a groundbreaking partnership with OpenAI. And this wasn't just a branding move. It was a deliberate strategy to integrate generative AI directly into their product development cycle. So by doing this, Microsoft didn't just enhance the capabilities of tools like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. Remember the days where you had to actually type in a mathematical formula. Now, you can go arrive at that formula using a prompt or even Microsoft Teams. But they have completely reimagined how users interact with Microsoft products. And the result is that they've achieved a major competitive edge in a fast changing tech world. So this partnership shows how aligning with AI innovation early and deeply embedding it into core products can lead to real differentiation in the market. Let's look at how AI is transforming even in the food and retail industry. Um, so with Papa John's International, what they did is they took a big step by expanding its partnership with Google Cloud to bring AI into its pizza ordering experience. This again isn't just about speeding up orders, it's about personalizing every touch point with the customer, from push notifications and marketing emails to loyalty rewards. All these are now tailored based on individual customer behavior. So this means smarter, a much more smarter engagement, better customer retention, and ultimately more satisfied customers. So it's a great example of how AI can boost both the customer experience and business outcomes in everyday industries and not just tech. McKinsey, developed um, a tool called Lily. So Lily was developed um, to give internal teams within McKinsey instant access to the firm's deep knowledge base, which is, usually spread across thousands of documents, reports, and internal insights. So instead of spending, hours digging through files, McKinsey consultants can now use Lily to quickly generate insights, summaries, or even draft content. And all of this with the power of generative AI. So it's a great example of using AI to boost internal efficiency, particularly in research and content creation, which are at the core of McKinsey's value delivery. So by building their own tool, McKinsey not only enhanced the productivity of its own employees, but also safeguarded the confidentiality and quality of their enterprise knowledge. Um, Here's a powerful real world example of AI driving measurable business impact. JP Morgan Chase implemented an AI coding assistant for their software engineers, and the results were very impressive. A 20% increase in the efficiency of the software engineers. This tool wasn't just a fancy add on, it actually automated many of the repetitive, routine coding tasks that typically consume a lot of time. So, what that meant for their teams was more time and energy to focus on high value strategic projects, especially in the areas of AI and data initiatives, which are very critical to their future. So this shows how AI, when integrated thoughtfully into workflows, can elevate both productivity and innovation. Exactly the kind of alignment businesses should aim for. For AI to function effectively, it needs access to high quality data. Data is the fuel that powers AI models. And without it, AI cannot provide, accurate or meaningful outputs. So clean that data, very important, right? So AI models require structured, bias-free, and high-quality data. Poor data leads to unreliable AI outputs. AI must handle data responsibly, following regulations like GDPR, CCPA, and industry-specific compliance laws. And then, finally, governance. Companies must define policies on data collection, processing, and usage to maintain trust and compliance. For example, financial institutions must ensure AI, doesn't unintentionally introduce biases when approving loans. Similarly, healthcare AI must rely on verified data sources to provide accurate diagnosis. So, without the right data strategy and governance, AI can do, unfortunately, some harm than good. AI adoption needs to be well structured. Many organizations struggle because they lack a clear framework for AI implementation. And that's where a generative AI center of excellence comes in. Key components of an AI center of excellence include: first is, as I mentioned, establishing clear policies on AI use, compliance, and risk management. And that's your governance and ethics. Second is best practices and standardization, creating guidelines for AI model selection, deployment, and monitoring. Third is talent development and upskilling. AI may not replace employees. In fact, it enhances their capabilities. Imagine, you have wealth of knowledge with all of these employees who have worked at the company for decades. Organizations need to invest in AI literacy and training. So, leading companies like Google, Amazon, Deloitte, or even Deloitte have AI centers of excellence that ensure AI is being used responsibly and effectively. And this is key for scaling AI initiatives enterprise wide. Um, let's talk about AI implementation challenges and some of the mitigation strategies. Technical barriers often um, include legacy systems that are not compatible, data silos, right? So it is important to conduct technical audit before you go ahead with AI implementation. Second, um, begin with phased integration rather than attempting complete transformation at once. Third, address organizational resistance through transparent communication about AI's role. Let's face it, there is also a lot of fear about AI. So I think if the decision makers are transparent about the benefits everybody can enjoy, I think that resistance, you need everybody's buy-in. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Fourth, implement upskilling programs to demonstrate investment in workforce development. So that way, you employees know that you're not there to get rid of them, but you're investing in them so that and investing in their upskilling. Five would be, stay ahead of regulatory concerns by establishing robust ethical guidelines and regular AI audits. Um, consider, appointing an AI ethics officer or maybe a committee for governance oversight. Address resource constraints by starting with smaller, high, ROI pilot projects. Document ROI metrics. So what defines success, right? I think everybody agreeing on that is very, very important. So whether it's from pilot programs to broader implementation. Create a cross-functional team to ensure diverse perspectives in AI deployment. So successful implementation is incremental, not immediate enterprise-wide transformation. So executives need to see tangible results from AI investments, and measuring AI's return on investment helps organizations refine their AI strategies and justify continued investment. So, key performance indicators include efficiency gains. Has AI reduced manual effort or improved automation, and by how much? Revenue growth. Is AI contributing to increased sales, customer retention, or new revenue streams? How much money is being saved through AI-driven automation and optimization? Um, are customers receiving better, faster, and more personalized services? So, for example, AI chatbots have reduced customer service response times by 60% in some industries, leading to both cost savings as well as improved customer experience. AI-powered marketing tools have increased campaign conversion rates by up to 40%. So by tracking these KPIs, enterprises can make data-driven decisions on AI investments. Um, let's talk about, you know, uh, a practical implementation roadmap. Begin with assessment. That is, identify high value opportunities where AI solves existing business problems. And later, when you hear from Jim, he'll he'll give you an example where you might have a big workflow and that entire workflow need not be automated, but using AI, you can automate certain tasks in that entire workflow. Um, you need to evaluate current capabilities, data quality, technical infrastructure, team skills. Strategic planning should produce identification of use cases based on impact and what is feasible. Define clear success metrics before implementation begins. Pilot implementations should focus on controlled deployment with clear success criteria. Document learnings from pilots thoroughly to inform future scaling. Um, Scaling phase requires infrastructure investment and integration with existing systems. Create communities of practice to share knowledge across the organization. And then, as I mentioned earlier, establish a center of excellence to maintain standards and governance. So it is important to maintain a balance between ambition with the ability to being pragmatic. So start with focused applications that deliver measurable value. So as we, wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways. AI is more than just content generation. It is a strategic tool for automation, innovation, and decision making. Identifying high value use cases, um, AI can have a real impact by identifying use cases like marketing, product design, knowledge management, and software development. Without clean, structured, and secure data, AI models cannot perform optimally. Um, and structured AI adoption um, can prevent risks and ensure proper alignment with business goals. ROI and performance metrics must be tracked to justify AI investments. And then, I encourage you to evaluate where AI can bring the most value to your organization. Start with a pilot project, track results, and then scale on a strategic level. Let me speak a little bit about what are some of the emerging trends in generative AI. Multimodal AI systems is one of the um, new emerging generative AI aspects that I'm very excited about. Um, Multimodal AI systems will enable comprehensive content creation across text, images, audio, and video. So all of these together could be an input as well as an output. Companies like, OpenAI and Anthropic are demonstrating increasingly capable multimodal, models. Second is AI agents. Um, those will handle complex task sequences with minimal supervision. Um, Regulatory landscape is evolving rapidly with the EU AI Act, um, some China's regulations, and some US initiatives possibly in the future as well. So prepare for complex compliance by establishing flexible governance framework, something that is able to adapt with the changing regulatory landscape as well. Industry specific AI models outperform general purpose AI for domain specific tasks. Vertical specific AI solutions are emerging with customized training for regulated industries. Um, and then future, success depends on effective human AI collaboration and not replacement. Organizations should redesign workflows to leverage complementary human AI strengths. And, the competitive advantage will come from how effectively humans and AI work together. It is that partnership that is going to benefit us all. It is not about replacing a human always. With that, let me hand it over to Jim.
Thank you, Dr. Reggae. I appreciate your presentation and your thoughtful commentary always. Perhaps while I'm speaking, Dr. Reggae, you can take a look at the questions that came in and see if you have any responses to those. And then when I finish up, you can answer those toward the end, and we'll go from there. There's 3 questions that I see now. So, okay, well, thank you again for that. And what I'm going to talk about builds on what Dr. Regge was saying, but specific to the IP space. So I'll go ahead and get started. Our agenda today is first a quick overview of the need for efficiency, then the revolution of AI and automation that's flipping the tables in IP practice and building efficiency and profitability into practices today and what your options are. Then how to prepare for the transition, how to integrate and implement technology and people too. We not only need to integrate technology, we need to integrate that technology with the people and help manage change and coach our teams through it. And then we will talk about a few of the opportunities and examples of use. And then we'll hit on some of the differentiators for choosing a generative AI tool. So presently, there's just a storm of confounds in the IP practice, in private practice. Business operating costs are up, law firm expenses are up while budgets are flat, and attorneys are forced to work more hours just to maintain their current pay, even to swim with the economy to meet the levels of inflation. So on top of that, talent and skill are hard to recruit and retain. So, in-house and outside counsel teams are being forced to be more efficient, accurate, and effective in what they do. And there's two readily available solutions, both automation and generative AI. And I guess there's a third option there too, is where you integrate the two together to use automation plus generative AI to achieve even synergies between your processes and your investments to drive productivity and thereby profitability. AI and automation are transforming the landscape of modern IP practice. Anything that can be automated will be automated. And I will even go a step further and say must be automated. Routine tasks can be translated into logic to execute faster, which is at a lower cost and achieve even greater accuracy than with people doing them. There's many things that computers are better at doing than people. People are amazing, and the ability to figure things out on the fly, encounter non-typical situations and adapt to them. But in many instances, the data and the documents and so on that are flowing in are coming in very predictable, very standardized ways. And those and certain tasks need to be performed based on those documents and that data. Those are ripe for automation, and consistent data in allows you to process things consistently to generate consistent data out. And that is where great opportunity is available using using automation. The next step from that, though, is when that reliable data comes in and those reliable documents come in and you process them to generate, say, docketing entries, you know what you're going to need to do next, or you know what's next in the workflow. The attorney's going to need to do certain types of tasks. When you can integrate AI into those workflows, into those automated workflows, you can insert smart processes to generate consistent output that can be the predicate work product for the attorneys. So rather than jumping in and picking up an office action and having to read it and figure out what's going on and look at the references and look at the claims, a lot of that analysis can be done and documented and provided to the attorneys before they even get the files. The important thing here that I want to hit on is generative AI tools are pretty amazing, but if you ask them to do too much at once, you often end up in a place where you get a output that sounds very confident and sounds very reasonable, but if you dig in, it may not match reality. And so, what we like to do is use the AI tools in a pipeline mode to generate this output, but along the same lines that you work as attorneys. You get the office action, you read it. The next thing you do is you look at the claims, assess the claims, and make sure the claims match the office action. And then you look at the references to make sure that the references do provide the teachings and suggestions as asserted in the office action. And you compare that back to the claims and you start working through this process. We're all a little bit different and we all have different preferences, but at the same time, the general process is the same from attorney to attorney as you work through it. And as you work through it in your own mind and you're doing your own steps through this process manually, you're building up a knowledge base. And the context of the resolution of one issue helps you resolve the next issue that you're working on. And we posit that using the AI tools in a very similar way, in a pipeline mode, to where the office action comes in, you process it and you docket it using automation. Then it flows into the next step where you start working on your response to that office action using the AI tool. And you build each piece, you help build the context for the tool, you guide it through as it's figuring out what the correct answers are, the correct responses are for these office actions or the individual rejections. And you start building that context and provide each step as an output along the way, so that as an attorney, when you pick up the file, you're not having to retrieve all the documents, upload the documents, generate, the output using an AI tool to help guide you in your process. This is already done for you. So we deliver that. And then you can read through the answers or the responses to the prompts, and you get to a point where yes, you agree with it along the way, or you don't, and you see where maybe the response goes off the rails. You update that piece of the analysis yourself using the AI tools or your own analysis, and you update it, you correct it, and then you keep moving on from there. Or if the answers, you're content with what is being provided, well, then what you can do is start drafting your office action response, some of it which you may have already had drafted by the AI tool. So what we're doing here is that we're moving from using AI in a purely manual mode to where you're inserting the documents and your prompts in a pipeline mode to where the output's there ready for you to start working with immediately, saving you the time of having to input it. But then the other piece there is that if you're running your AI models on your own infrastructure, uh, you don't need to. You can run things in a pipeline mode in off hours so that the demand isn't so high during working hours. Or if you are using cloud resources to do your processing, what you can do is you can shift a lot of this processing to lower demand times, which means lower cost in processing. So you're kind of load balancing your workloads on your servers to maximize utilization and minimize the cost, further increasing the efficiency of your operations. So anyway, there's multiple reasons why you may want to do that. Happy to have conversations with you individually. I see a few more questions coming in. I'll jump to those here in just a bit. So generative AI prompting is replacing the need for code customization as well. You have changes in your processes, or you have changes in the way that you different things you want generated from your output, or different ways of reading documents and making decisions on those, rather than having to update code, maintaining libraries of prompts that can be updated by the decision makers. That works. That works really well, and it makes it more efficient to update systems. So generative AI is readily available, it's secure, it's adaptable, and can be inexpensive. Important pieces there on security is that you're looking for zero retention APIs, solutions that encrypt data at rest and in transit. The licenses that the various um, AI tool providers uh, uh, execute with their LLM providers. You want to be sure that they're taking the licenses from those LLM providers that ensure that no training is done on the data that you submit, and that they have no access to the actual data within their systems, because it remains encrypted, and so on. All of that can be handled by Covenant, and um, those licenses are readily available. They generally cost more than other licenses, so just be cognizant of what licenses and model your AI tool providers are utilizing. Okay, so the goals with automation and AI. First, step one, you want to eliminate work that doesn't need to be performed manually and you can be offloaded to automated processes. Replace manual tasks with automation, which may include modifying processes to enable them to be automated more. You modify your forms, internal forms, and your internal formats for data to enable automation, and move away from what's comfortable to what's profitable. And in, say, processing correspondence from various patent offices and so on, and getting those things into your IP management systems, an easy thing to do is just start eliminating comments that get put into docketing entries. Or if there are going to be comments, standardize them so they can be logically identified as far as what needs to be put in. These types of things, this type of pattern of um, standardizing and eliminating what is everything but what is absolutely necessary, are things that add to efficiency, and it forces a discipline on you for really deciding, what do I really need to do? And if I need to do it, how can I standardize it so then we can put an automated process on top of it to essentially eliminate that work? Then there will always be exceptions to that, and but if you can eliminate the work, the expenses, you can get rid of, like 98, 99% of the expense, and push it off to an automated process. Then the work that remains, insert AI to generate your work product predicates, or the things that need to be performed in advance of, maybe generating the drafts of the end documents, or you receive invention disclosure. It flows into an automated workflow, and then say if you're in a corporation, as the AI can be used to assist the inventors in generating their invention disclosure forms. Then you can use automated AI processes in your workflows to start generating what the claims might look like for that type of invention, evaluating what else is in your portfolio in view of what's described in the disclosure. You can build these pieces in to your workflow pipeline, and then when it comes time for the inventors or the attorneys to interview the inventors, they can start performing analysis on the disclosures, and generating, draft claims very quickly to discuss with the inventors, to generate questions, evaluate different types of technologies that might be used to implement the inventions, and talk specifically to the inventors about those technologies, and the different difficulties that might be incurred in implementing the invention. AI can do great things to help prepare the attorney and also generate the output of their work product, and additionally to help them do quality control and review of their work product. So why automate and use IP? We want to eliminate work, increase productivity, accelerate execution, optimize processes, maximize work product quality, manage expense, and improve client experience. On all of that builds to be a more well-run and executing organization, which leads to greater profitability. So what we want to do is we want to go from this, where each of these boxes is a step in the workflow pipeline, from invention disclosure to preparing applications, filing the applications, prosecuting the applications, even appealing them, processing the documents when they when the applications reach a point of allowance and issuance, and then maintaining the portfolio and helping make decisions about whether or not annuity fees get paid, and so on. So you go from this to this, where each of the shaded boxes is a step in the workflow pipeline where AI can easily be implemented to assist you. Now, I know that's an eye chart. I have this flow chart here in a later slide again, and we can take a look at it. We can zoom in on it there. So how do we transition to automation and AI? So here's 10 guiding principles for AI and automation. Security, confidentiality, and prudent risk mitigation are tantamount. That's where you start. That's cultural. Build it into your culture, build it into every decision that you're making. Make sure you're complying with your client agreement letters or your corporate policies, and have that as your starting point. Then align your decisions with your business and IP strategies. And if it's a law firm, those business strategies are probably a little bit more clear and readily available for discussion with it, because it's usually a smaller organization. In a larger corporation, that can be more challenging, but ask the questions. The right decision, this is an important one here. When you're choosing systems and technology that you're implementing, whether that be directly AI related or automation related. It may be your IP management system. Just remember that the right decision is usually the one, or almost always the one, that allows future flexibility. What you're looking for are open APIs, application programming interfaces, to enable the free flow of data between the systems you have today and the systems you may procure in the future. And with APIs, that also makes available not just the flows of data, but also the ability to leverage services and processes that exist in one system, accessing those in other systems. Free flow of data and services between your various systems are quite important. And those open APIs enable access to data and functions between systems. So standardized documents, document your processes, share processes and document formats. Make sure that's clear, everything's communicated, and be sure to share. Monitor metrics of automation versus what's being done manually. One of the things that you'll find is that automation can be, I like to refer to it as a full contact sport. Entropy is real. It fights against you along the way. Data changes, processes change, discipline fades, and things start being handled manually. Put metrics and KPIs in place to monitor your performance and keep moving towards automation. Maintain high levels. Continuous improvement is a culture. Your engineering teams, if you're in a corporation, almost certainly follow this culture, have a strong culture of it. Borrow from that and implement it and police it inside your organization. Ask every day, how can I do this better? If you can improve just a fraction of a percent every day, you're moving in the right direction. That is a good culture. Cultivate it and celebrate success. So facilitate a path to yes in both AI and automation, even if it's a qualified yes. Yes, we can use AI, but we're only going to use it for these things today. Revisit that later and find other ways to say yes. Or in automation, well, we can't entirely change our processes today because we're not ready for that, or our systems don't support that. But what we can do with automation, say yes. Review your generative AI output that will be filed. This is imperative. If it's going to be filed, submitted, or otherwise relied upon, make sure you review it. There's certain things that answers or output you might get from generative AI that, whether or not it's accurate, it may not really matter too much. Think about the closer something is to a question you have while you're out for dinner with your friends that you need answered, like a sports trivia question or whatnot. The closer you are to that type of thing, maybe the accuracy doesn't matter as much. But the closer you are to a document that you're going to file before the USPTO or a court, that's more important. So make sure that your review matches the necessity for accuracy. So how do we transition? Be open to new technologies, automation, and AI. You need to manage change, manage that change, communicate in advance of what you're going to do, set a schedule, communicate along the way as the implementation's going. If there are delays, communicate that. If you can go faster, communicate that. When you're successful, communicate that. Coach your staff through the process. Typically, when you implement automation and AI, there's anxiety. Some employees think they're going to be automated out of a job, and in many cases, that is not true. Recruiting and retaining employees that have familiarization with intellectual property is difficult. And I refer to these people as people who have a high IP IQ. Those are people that you don't want to just lose. You want to keep those, and maybe you can repurpose those people to do other things that have either a higher value add, or maybe you help retrain them to be able to work alongside the automation or use various AI tools to perform different tasks or whatnot. But coach your staff through the process of implementation. People in automation and people in AI coexist, and it's going to make us all more productive. When there's resistance, push back on it. If you see resistance, don't let it fester. Handle it right away. And sometimes you'll find that people just want to vent. People just want to talk about it. And if you bring them back to reality of what's going on or what your plan is, uh, they um, they can be put at ease very, very quickly. Or you can bring them back within your mission, communicate your mission to automate and implement AI and work with your team to do that. Also, when you're hiring new team members, take this into account. If you have a goal of automating or implementing AI or a combination of both, when you're hiring, be sure that you're talking to people about this so that you don't bring somebody into your team that is completely opposed to automation or AI or this is kind of an obvious thing because when you hire people, you talk to them about your mission, about what your values are as a company. And if automation and AI are in that mission, of course you'll talk to them about it. So don't overlook it. Don't overlook it, I guess is really what my message is there. So leadership matters. Get buy-in from the top, articulate the vision downward, and execute on it. Defeat the skeptics, and automation uh, will be a success. But this automation implementation is really the fourth industrial revolution, and it started way back with the production line, and even before that with mechanizing mills and so on. But back in I don't know what the 1870s or so. So this is just the next step in that process. So um, you can borrow from the past and how various companies and so on and entities implemented various technologies in the Industrial Revolution to help guide you. But AI does present challenges, and some will be resistant. Regardless, things to consider here is that if you're a corporation, you want to revisit your outside counsel guidelines, and as a firm, you want to revisit your firm agreement letters and contemplate the use of AI. Typically, you want to disclose your use of it. So review your outside counsel insurance coverages, the vendor insurance coverages, in particular cyber. Law firms, keep an eye on your cyber coverage and your various insurance policies to ensure that they meet the needs of your current business the way that you're operating. So also craft consistent internal and external messaging regarding your AI usage about what is allowed, what is not, and if you have any requirements for that. For example, if you are using generative AI or you allow usage of generative AI, what's the security posture that you require, and so on. So remain vigilant again regarding security and closely review vendor terms of use. Update your data retention policies with regard to AI tools. If you have a retention policy, say to clean the file history or purge the file histories in your electronic or paper files upon issuance, make sure that that is also being performed with regard to various AI tools and stored sessions and whatnot. There is overlap between the way people use AI and the way files are maintained and such, and making sure that your policies are consistent across those technical platforms is very important. So AI provides great opportunities. A no from one client does not necessarily apply to all clients. Just because Acme Tool Company requires that or doesn't allow AI doesn't mean that Acme Anvil Company shouldn't be able to benefit from it if they're okay with it. Don't be dissuaded by fear, whether it's your own fear, the fear of others on your team, or the fear of your clients. talk through it, identify what those confounds are, and see if you can find answers that will either satisfy the client or answer the questions you have that are giving rise to these fears. Just push through it and find the right answers. Go to truth. Find as much truth as you can, and then base your opinions from there. So, how will AI and automation work? Here's a slide where I'm showing you what, conceptually what you want is you want your data flows and your service flows to be continuous. You don't want walls between them, because you want to be able to utilize AI and automation between all of the different endpoints of where data comes in and where data goes out and where it's stored. That'll enable you to do more in the future, whether you're doing it now or not, but at least in the future, to generate documents, generate analysis using AI, all the predicates to from which you may generate your work product. So here's this chart. Let's see, am I able to zoom in? Sydney, can you zoom in on this one at the top left? Are you able to do that? Oops. I want to zoom in on that chart if possible. There's a magnifying glass in the bottom left there. There you go. There you go. Maybe just a little bit more. Oh, well, we'll go with that. Okay. So here's the different boxes that that I talked about before, where if you where you can implement AI, use AI to help you along the way. For example, when the inventors are disclosing their invention in an invention disclosure form. You can use that to help identify inconsistencies in their documents or holes in their documents, add background information, and so on. If you have a more sophisticated inventor that is familiar with drafting claims, or looking for points of novelty, you can use AI to help them identify or isolate the points of novelty that they want the drafting attorney or your invention review board or your disclosure review board to review to determine whether or not you want to file on it. You can use AI in those regards. You can use AI to conduct novelty searching. There's a number of searching firms that are using AI to fuel that today. Now, there's your invention disclosure review and approval process can use this as well to evaluate different disclosures in view of your existing portfolios. And again, as I was talking about before, you can, block 7, you can use AI as an attorney to prepare for your inventor interviews, draft claims, start generating different portions of the application, such as a background section, generate some title suggestions, and so on. As you start working through it, you can build pieces of the application before you even meet with the inventors. So from there, of course, you can use it to help you draft office action responses, review documents for IDS submission, generate evidence of use reports when you get a notice of allowance or before paying a maintenance fee. So you can zoom back out, Sydney. My point here is that at various steps in the process of generating IP, procuring IP, and managing the IP, the various generative AI processes or generative AI tools are very helpful, and you can use them in different ways. Okay. So the result is that you can get a 60 to 80% reduction in manual tasks, such as in docketing, generating office action response shells, summarizing documents, reporting things to your clients internally in your company. You're talking about a 2.5 to 5 times productivity increase for back office employees. You can increase the speed of your practice from disclosure to filing, and you can have greater thoroughness and accuracy in developing and reviewing your work product. At the end of the day, each one of these bullet points result in either, a faster execution, higher quality, greater profitability, better client experiences. That's really what at the end of the day, what we end up with. So I have a lengthy set of uses that you can use. In the interest of time, I'll just move through these really quickly, but and I invite you to take a look at these on our a replay of this video, or reach out to us and we can, share more information about specific use cases and whatnot. What you'll see in our AI tools in the next, I think we're about within the next month, we'll be rolling out over 100 predefined, pre-prompted tasks that you can perform using or that are available at the push of a button, readily available to perform, the common tasks of patent attorneys, such as, working on various portions of office action responses, drafting applications, drafting agreements, and so on. You'll receive this as, capabilities within our tools, such as in our web-based browser interface, where you have your patent center document access on the left where you're readily able to just click on a paperclip to add them to context and work with those documents without having to retrieve them and upload them and so on. They're all readily available right there. Or even within Microsoft Word, using our Word add-in that's available today even. So multiple integrated working environments. But there's many use cases. These are lengthy lists. I won't leave them up on the screen too long in the interest of time, but happy to get on a call and share these with you, or send you a list of the various pre-canned prompts that we have and wizard-like functions that we have available. But the important thing to remember here is that AI won't replace you, but the person using AI will. That is a theme that we've been talking about. Others have said it as well. I think it's pretty well accepted these days. So we succeed in transitioning to automation and AI through integration, being able to collaborate within secure environments and with a controlled cost. And not only in the tools that we use, but also in the cost savings we have from the various processes we automate and augment with artificial intelligence. Our goal is to increase productivity, accelerate execution, optimize processes, maximize your work product quality, manage expense, and improve your client experience. So that's the end of my slide. So why don't we take a look at the questions? Dr. Rege, looks like maybe you answered some of those in the text responses. So thank you for doing that. There's a few
Sure.
open questions.
Yeah, if you could do the
Please proceed.
first two. I'm just about to type the answer to the third one. But Jim, if you
Okay.
could do the first two, I think they are IP related.
The mechanism one? What mechanisms? Okay, so what
Yes.
mechanisms do you recommend for assessing the quality of an AI-generated office action response? Well, okay, so that is a tough one, right? I mean, that's very personal to the reviewer. I think if what you're trying to do, if you're reviewing an AI-generated office action response as one that was, just generated in one shot and dropped in your inbox or whatnot, or generated and provided to you on a screen, I would be suspect. Some tools can do a great job, right? But if you're going from a blank page to a full office action response generated by an AI tool, you're going to end up using pretty much the same amount. It's going to be great effort to determine whether or not it's good, because you're still going to be flipping through the references and whatnot, and the claims, and back and forth to the office action. But if what I find to be a better solution is to go step by step. Don't issue one prompt. Generate a response to this office action. Not really that great of. It's going to take you so long to review that single document that it's going to work against your productivity gains. So ask the tool to give you the output along the way. So summarize the office action. Tell me about the references, and what do the references teach, what the claims, or the references actually teach what the office action asserts, and get those answers. What's different between the claims and this reference or that reference, and start building that up, and you start identifying where the differences start to lie, or the similarities to where you figure out you need to amend your application. But you're using the tool on those preliminary questions before you get to the final work product. And so if you have that output, whether you do it yourself in real time, or if you use a pipeline process to generate this output for you along the way, you can look through this. You can be flipping through the documents as you go to help you generate or get to the end work product much quicker than just going, having to manually go back and forth between all the references. Have it build your confidence in its response as you read through at each step. I could get on a call and show you exactly what I mean with that, but I think that I think you probably understand what I mean there. So walking through the analysis with the tool rather than just going straight to the answer or to the final draft. But if you want to look at quality of the office action response, one of the things that you can use, if you're in-house counsel and you get a draft office action response, you could ask for those intermediary steps, or say you have a set of things that you look for in your office action responses that outside counsel sends you for review before filing. If you have those, say it's your pet peeve list or the list of analysis that you do on these drafts, you can put those in a prompt yourself and run that prompt against the draft. Or you could take those that list and send it to your outside counsel and have them perform that analysis before they even send you a draft, which as in-house counsel could save you considerable time. So that's that one. Let's see. What mechanisms do you recommend for assessing the quality of an AI generated? Okay, so I just did that one. I think I maybe clicked answered on the wrong one. Let's see. Okay, so this one's done. Okay. Have you seen patent prosecution tools that have built-in quality assessment functionality? Well, yes. It's the thing to keep in mind as far as quality goes. Quality is really eye of the beholder. So, what I consider to be quality, may not be what you consider to be quality, and what I'm looking for may not be something that is as easily measurable as what you may be looking for. So that's really eye of the beholder stuff, and I think that's one of the challenges that the patent office has too, as far as what's quality examination. There's a lot of opinions on that, and I don't think there's a one size fits all answer. So given the state of commercially available AI tools for supporting IP, what do you see as a use case for the highest payoff? Maybe one for in-house and one for IP firms. So, okay, let's just talk about the kind of like the tool architecture here and what, some differentiators are. I talked about this kind of generally before, but I think there's a few different layers here. First off, there's the LLM, and then there's what data does well, we'll go to the wrapper first. So there's the LLM, and then there's the wrapper. That's what the AI tool provider has. How did your vendor customize the AI environment to work specifically for your use cases. And that's like, for intellectual property. How do they customize it? And do those customizations include data integrated into there, data and documents integrated in there from, whether that be from Patent Center, from your IP management system, from maybe your document management system? What data is there to make it easier to submit your prompts, generate your prompts? What data can it rely upon in the sessions, and improving the ease and speed of use for the user? So, going back to the question, given the current state of commercially available AI tools for supporting IP, what do you see as the use case for the highest payoff? The use case for the highest payoff is the greater data integration, right? Um, because then that opens up how you can prompt it and how quickly and efficiently you can use it. The underlying LLMs are essentially all the same from one to the next. There's the same LLMs are available to basically everybody. And what do you do to utilize those? Or uh, that's the wrapper. So the underlying LLM models, you can just kind of take for granted. They're all going to neutralize each other. There might be some that you want to sit on top of, you may want to sit on top of, and others you may not want to. You're going to have your own reasons for that. One might be because you already have a subscription to one, so you want your AI tool to sit on top of that so that you can leverage the same security infrastructure, the same. It's your model that you control the security on or the access to. Maybe you have a beneficial license for the cost of use or whatnot. That's up to you. That's up to your IP tool provider. It's a discussion you can have. I know our tools, we can we can sit on top of an LLM that we procure. We can sit on top of an LLM you procure. We have different ways of doing that. So I would just take the LLM out of the equation about figuring out what's best. Then you need to look at your wrapper and whether or not it allows for integration with your patent center data, or your IP management system data, or your document management system, or choose your data source, your data and document source. So integration, I would argue, is the most important part about choosing an AI tool. It goes down to it's kind of like this. It's a philosophy that I kind of learned by playing checkers. The best move is typically the move that leaves the most future moves available. With the best choice in technology and AI and automation and related technologies, IP management systems or whatnot, it's the best answer is the one that gives you the greatest flexibility to choose other pieces in your technical ecosystem moving forward. So, okay. I think I answered that one. One last question. You have taken the existing processes and colored the boxes that can be supported by Gen AI. Where do you see Gen AI re-engineering the flow? Well, re-engineering the flow, is going to be, firm specific. I think, when it comes to, you need a disclosure. You need to start with a disclosure. Now you can get into a more of a philosophical discussion about whether or not you can use AI to, for the flash of genius for which, your inventions are based. And, who's the inventor and so on. I'll leave that to philosophers and the courts to resolve, maybe even Congress. But you need to start with a disclosure, and from there you need to do different things. You need to decide whether or not you want to do a prior art search, and if you do a prior art search, um, who's going to do it? I think using the various service providers that do searching. We do not do searching, but using a Gen AI search might be a good start. Depending on the importance of the search to whether or not you file or disclose. That's going to be very technology and entity specific what your approach there is. Drafting the applications, I think using AI to help you in that process is good. I think that part of the process flow is probably going to, kind of be the same. Maybe there's more iteration between human and AI in there that could be illustrated a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, the flow is very similar to the way it is today. I think using AI to examine your applications prior to filing them is going to become more and more common. I think the use of AI at the USPTO is going to become rather prevalent to increase examiner productivity and reduce the backlog. I would not be surprised at some point in the future to where the USPTO might make an examination API available to submit your patent application to get some form of initial examination. I would not be surprised to see that. With that, that might facilitate this is speculation here, and there's a lot of considerations that would go into whether or not this come to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if we would, modify the types of patent protection that are available to be more of a maybe a utility model type protection that might be available if you go through this quick AI type examination. Maybe for a technology that has a shorter shelf life, a utility model type protection would be sufficient. So you get a quick examination using an AI and an AI API from the USPTO, and it would have a shorter duration, but maybe that's sufficient. So anyway, I'm speculating there. So anyway, that's quite a few questions. I appreciate your attendance today. I Dr. Reggae, did you have any other comments by chance?
No, this was great. And those were amazing questions, which really helped us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, well, hey, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you again for joining us. We'll have another one of these sessions next quarter, and we will go from there. Feel free to email me at any time with your questions. If I don't have the answer, I'll get the right person from our team to get an answer for you. If you'd like to discuss what our AI and automation tools look like and how we can integrate those with your processes, feel free to email me, or you can email sales@blackhills.ai. With regard to our AI tools, we do have free trials available, and even for some of our automation products, we have free trials available. So we're happy to talk to you about those. And with no further delay, I want to say thank you one last time and have a great weekend.